Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle, the ASU strike.
You have done your work, you have put us to the wall. We are not your slaves.
I'm not a small boy. You should have given me the report.
I have not seen the report.
Thank you everyone for joining us here on Global Morning. I'm Wiya Mofwegbe, and it's the 26th day, Boxing Day, as we know it. And we're sure that for those of us who got gifted a wide range of items, this is a golden opportunity to unwrap, starting from this morning all through the entire day. It's a wonderful season we're in. First of all, it's Christmas. It's also holidays for many people. Plus, it is end of year, and that means it's also a period where we get to take stock of our lives and all that we have accomplished, which also means that this is one time where we get to take a look at our lives and see how far we've come with our plans. I'm not just talking about those who made New Year resolutions, but also those who told themselves for the next 3 months, for the next 6 months, for the next 1 year. I want to be able to accomplish X, Y, Z, whether it's in your career, in your family, or with regards to what you want to do for your community that you so dearly love. I mean, this is the time to just do an assessment, or for some people, reassessment of progress, and then be able to strategize for the new year. Governments are not left out, whether at the federal, state, or local levels, because ultimately, government is also about people. As a matter of fact, those in government are first people before they are in government, whether elected or appointed. Today, we're just going to take our time and look at a handful of issues that have shaped our collective destiny, as it were. I mean, issues that have impacted us as a nation in 2023. And of course, as we know, those issues are numerous. Some of them have to do with election, others have to do with quality of governance and how it impacts the lives of the people being governed. And then we have those that have to do with disasters, especially across the world. I mean, you may say, yes, Nigeria is so blessed that we suffer next to no natural disaster, except for maybe the annual flood that happens occasioned by the release of waters from dam outside of our borders, and then maybe once in a while flooding on account of negligence and so on and so forth. But overall, we're talking about natural disasters across Europe, Asia, and so on and so forth, and how they have impacted lives, how they have placed very extreme demands on governments and the authorities in those countries. Let's not also forget that some of these have happened in Africa as well. We want to look at those issues. And don't forget as well that this is the year that Nigeria has marked her 63rd independence. It's been a long time coming, but then we're still wondering if Nigeria has gotten any close to her destiny as a sovereign nation. But let's not just unpack all of that right now. Let's just get you salivating a little with taste and texture.
Yamarita is loved by everyone in Nigeria, except you haven't yet tried it. Then trust me, today's episode is for you. Hello and welcome to Taste and Texture. I am Sharon Ajay. Yamarita is plain boiled yam that is coated in egg, flour, ginger, garlic, and salt. Don't forget the frying part. Its preparation is one of the most comprehensive. Yamarita is just so easy and delicious. You can make this in just about 45 minutes and can be served with tomato stew, egg sauce, ketchup, or even Monica sauce. The ingredients for Yamarita are yam, eggs, flour, vegetable oil, ginger, garlic, ground pepper, seasoning cube, and salt. Now let's make it. Step 1. Peel off the back of the yam, slice to any size, or boil for about 15 minutes. It should be soft and well cooked. Drain and allow to cool. Step 2. Mix all the spices in a bowl and mix all together. The ginger, garlic, pepper, sweetener, and salt. Whisk all properly together and immerse the boiled yam in it. Set your frying pan on it and add vegetable oil. Allow the heat for about 1 minute. Immerse the boiled yam in your spice batter and flip. Drop into the hot oil and fry. Step 3. Fry and flip. Don't allow to burn. You can use a spoon to apply more of the spiced batter while it fries. I like it to be heavily coated, and you would like that too. Then serve with your favorite sauce and juice, or grilled fish. Chicken is also a welcome addition. Easy, right? Yes. And now to the health benefits. Yam is a good source of energy. 100 grams provides 118 calories. It is an edible root mainly composed of complex carbohydrates. Also, its soluble dietary fiber content helps to reduce constipation, decrease bad cholesterol levels by binding to it in the intestine, which in turn lowers the risk for colon cancer by preventing toxic compounds in the food from adhering to the colon mucosa. Lastly, yam tuber is an excellent source of B-complex group of vitamins. It provides adequate daily requirement of pyridoxine, vitamin B6, thiamine, vitamin B1, riboflavin, folates, phytotonic acid, and niacin. These vitamins resolve various metabolic functions in the body. That's all for today's episode. See you on the next one. Bye.
That was Sharon Ajay there, just giving us tastes, in the manner of speaking, by the way, of what yamarita is like. I just realized that lately I'm beginning to love yamarita now. She makes me want to have some of that for lunch today. I mean, for anybody who is already tired of rice in the last 24 hours or so, it's not a bad idea to try yamarita, is it? All right, thank you, Sharon. Just a while ago, I was talking about how that this year, amongst other big highlights, Nigeria marked, or some say commemorated, their 63rd independence. And much as the country, without the government or its people, wasn't so big on celebrating, it did give us an opportunity to take a second look at how far or otherwise we have come as a nation, especially given the several disruptions by a military, what we now call military incursion, that the country has witnessed. However, some say we should be thankful that democracy returned in 1999 and since then has been smooth. But smooth is within context, because what that means, quite frankly, is that there hasn't been any form of military intervention between 1999 and today, and some people say and counting. However, the challenge is whether or not the last 24 years have given Nigerians enough by way of, if you like, dividends of democracy. In other words, there are now questions as to whether or not what Nigeria has gotten so far in return for practicing democracy in the past 2+ decades is commensurate with the investment that's been made. Democracy, they say, is very expensive, especially, again, knowing that what Nigeria practices is the model that we borrowed from the Americans. And now, every other day, there is this conversation as to the need to take a second look at how we practice it. And then there are calls saying, look, we've got to now have something most people refer to as homegrown democracy. Is there such thing as homegrown democracy? What does that even mean in the first instance? But the perspective is that these people who talk about homegrown democracy are saying that we shouldn't just, if you like, lift the US model wholesale. We should be able to tweak it in such a way that we can domesticate and introduce elements that are particular to our immediate environment. That's the argument that they're having. But in the meantime, Nigeria continues to march on. We just had a general election cycle a matter of months ago, and the government at the federal level at least produced, on account of that election, has been in office now for virtually 9 months. I mean, 7 months, I should say, because the government came into office on the 29th of May. So in 3 days' time, it will be exactly 7 months. There's also now the need to assess that government in the area of the economy, education, health, infrastructure, and so on and so forth. But here's a brilliant report put together by our partner correspondent, Danjuma Abdullahi, highlighting core issues around Nigeria's independence.
Several eminent Nigerians who are considered heroes by many participated actively in the struggle for Nigeria's independence from the British colonialists. They attended constitutional conferences, formed political associations which later evolved into active political parties. 1st October 1960 ushered in a promising independent Nigerian nation. It was a joyous moment, a moment characterized by hope and high expectations. Several years after independence, Nigeria's unity was tested. A military coup, a counter-coup, and threats of secession. Breakdown of discussions led to turmoil and violence in the country. In 1967, Nigeria, the fairly new promising West African nation, found itself in a devastating civil war which lasted for 30 months. There were heavy casualties because hundreds of thousands lost their lives. Hundreds of thousands were injured and displaced. There was serious damage to infrastructures, but worst of all, the war and the events that preceded it created mutual suspicion on both sides and a crack in Nigeria's unity.
The first reason is we must fight this war because it was imposed on us as an imperial war. And they found an easy tool in the hands of Ojukwu, and they manipulated him. And they found willing tools in the Southeasterners, and they fell for it. So at the end of the day, we blooded our noses for 30 months. And nobody, that's why Gawan captured it, no victor, no vanquish. And to tell you how united Nigeria is, 9 years after the Civil War, somebody from that part of the region, an Igbo man, became the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That is the magnanimity, that is the integrative spirit, and that is the unity of purpose of Nigeria.
Apart from the Civil War, Nigeria has witnessed several ethno-religious crises, culminating in loss of lives and damage to property. These events have continued to undermine not only Nigeria's unity, but the efforts to develop the nation. Many experts believe that there is a strong disconnect somewhere. If both Islam and Christianity preach peace and peaceful coexistence, why has religion become a source of conflict and loss of lives?
Who is well grounded in Islam knows that killing a single soul intentionally is like killing entire mankind. In Christianity, a practicing Christian knows that to kill a neighbor is like obliterating the entire community out of existence. Then why did the current Nigerian Muslims and Christians find their own doctrines?
The kind of things that we have been experiencing in Nigeria is a combination of factors. There are times when some people they benefit from problems. If there is conflict, they will benefit. If you tear down the place, they will be given contracts to build it. Therefore, they will encourage you to tear it.
To me, what we need is to restructure the people.
It is the view of many eminent Nigerians that 63 years after nationhood, Nigeria has recorded tremendous achievements. Apart from development of infrastructure seen in the urban growth of many Nigerian cities, there are gains in many sectors of the economy. Nigeria is the most populous country in Africa and arguably the largest economy on the continent. Many consider Nigeria as the powerhouse of Africa. However, after 63 years of nationhood, Many Nigerians equally believe that not much progress has been made in view of the quantum of resources that Nigeria is blessed with. These critics believe that many of the indices for measuring development have remained dismally low. They said many Nigerians are still suffering from debilitating poverty. Many are unemployed, and most recently, changes in the energy sector have further made life unbearable for many Nigerians. Many experts believe that Nigeria is a blessed country with unlimited potential of becoming a prosperous nation. However, these potentials will remain untapped for development until some variables become available or perform maximally for the benefit of all.
It has been re-echoed variously by all well-meaning Nigerians that the only missing link between our expectations and our present position is leadership. With good leadership, with responsible, committed, and sincere followership, the El Dorado is very much around. We will soon be there. Our destination is defined. Our dimensions is well located.
Danjuma Abdullahi.
Thank you, Danjuma Abdullahi, for that, if you like, summary of Nigeria in 63 years. I mean, a country blessed with so much of natural resources beyond crude. I mean, this is a country we're told has dozens of mineral resources, I mean, mineral items. And today, that again is a big conversation in itself, to the extent that there are now accusations and counter-accusations as to how there are prominent, powerful Nigerians who are exploiting that for personal gains. And then you're wondering, what does the government in the end get from that? Well, the authorities are now mulling the idea of mine police. How soon that will happen, we are not so sure. In the interim, however, Nigeria continues to lose billions in dollars on a yearly basis on that front. Can we continue to depend on oil? Well, that is probably some kind of symposium question or discussion that we need to have as a country. However, one thing is clear, Nigeria must be smart enough to make the most of the monies realized from the sales of crude to strengthen other pivotal sectors such as tech, for instance, all right, such as manufacturing, the real sector. So we're able to drive growth as quickly as possible, including the service industry, because no country survives their entire life on oil. You've got to make the most of the money you make from oil and then be able to drive developments. I mean, we can take a cue from places like the UAE. We can talk about several other countries, including, for example, Qatar. Whether or not we're learning from these countries remains to be seen. Up next is the Global AM News, and that will happen shortly. Do stay with us, everyone.